Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you? Okay, I'm sticking my neck out on two this week, but I wanted to talk to y'all about this one. The your educational system. Yeah, you're going to see me pressing that a little bit. Not that I have kids in school anymore. When I had youngsters in school, I was the school district's worst nightmare because I stood my ground when it came to my kids' education. Wouldn't let them play any games with them. So yeah, it cost a principal and some others their jobs, even a school superintendent, because I just would not play with the kids' education. Right now we've got this 1619 nonsense that they're trying to teach in school. It's been debunked. It is a pile of garbage. There is enough truth in there to where they can point to the truths that they see, okay? And then the rest of it's twisted around BS. I did get a kick out of it. I saw one excerpt out of it, and I got a kick out of it, where they were saying the Founding Fathers did not create a democracy. They didn't like a democracy. And they didn't create one. That's something you school teachers have been doing. Yeah. Telling these kids you live in a democracy. Of course, you haven't taught civics to children since the 70s. So they don't know what kind of country they live in. They count on you to tell them. They count on you to educate them to what this country's all about. And teachers, for the most part, and I'm not saying all of you, there's some good ones out there, but you're the few and far between. Most of them just march to whatever the school district tells them to march to. And you have totally loused these kids up. Because you haven't been teaching them civics. They don't understand even the very structure of the country that they live in. Don't understand why it was set up the way it was set up. They don't understand. Parents, we've let this happen. You will hear a lot of times people refer to this country as a republic, or sometimes constitutional republic, or if they use the whole title, a democratic constitutional republic, because that is the pieces that were utilized to put together our structure and government. Kids today are being taught nonsense like this 1619 project, where we are democracy. You even hear a lot of the politicians using that term. It's become second nature. You know, you tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. We, as a nation, are not a democracy. Want the proof of it? The Electoral College is one. If we were a democracy, a true democracy, then whoever won the popular vote won the election. But our founding fathers had the foresight to know that that would alienate large portions of this country. It would turn the ruling of this country over to large urban centers, totally removing any input from the more rural sections in these smaller states. That is the reason for the Electoral College. Okay? Because they understood what would happen under a system like that is these people that had no voice in the government anymore would stand up and say, then we're not going to be part of your country anymore. Which would happen. And then you're going to have a divided nation. Democracy, according to the founding fathers of this nation, they referred to it as mob rule, to where the majority controls. Think about that one for 30 seconds. They didn't see it as a good way to go. So we need to get back to our kids being taught things like civics. Between this, critical race theories, things of this nature that they're pumping out to kids, and they're trying to get all that moved down to the lower grades now. our children are being brainwashed. These kids that have been coming out of these colleges, probably the last 2 generations of them, they've lost it. That is how they think socialism is a good idea, because that's what they're taught. You know, we're educating these communists that we have out in the streets. We created them. We allowed them to be created by the educational system. How many times have we, sat down when our kids were getting ready to go to college and talked with the university people and say, let's talk political affiliations and biases. What's your conservative to liberal ratio as far as faculty, tenured faculty in this college? You will find it's probably somewhere in like the 95 to 5%. That's a college you tell junior, I don't care what your friends are doing, you're not going here. I want you to have a better education. And drag them on out of there. Because you are not getting your child educated in a situation like that. You're getting it brainwashed into socialism, then on into communism. There you go. And here again, now they want to start shoving all this stuff down into the elementary schools to get these kids at their formative years so that they can brainwash them into the little drones that they want. And as we can see, it's working out real well. We got a long road to get back to being Americans. We really do. These little animals out there in the streets are not Americans. They don't even know what America is. I put the blame to that primarily at the feet of their parents. It's a failure on the part of the parent. I spent so much time involved with my kids' education, it was astounding. And some long, hard fights, right down to legal battles. Pretty soon you got to the point with the school districts to where when you walked in and going, bull, you're not teaching my kid this. I had one teacher over a sex ed class that they were giving at an inappropriate age. I told him, no, my kid's not going to participate in that. And so I was told by the teacher, oh, I'll just set your child out in the hall. I said, oh, so for 3 days you're going to set my kid out in the hall learning nothing. I said, no, you're going to take my kid down to the library and let him get some books and sit and read. And teacher didn't agree, the principal didn't agree, but when I got done with the school board, my youngest boy got to go down to the library and sit and read. Yeah. And having him sit out and put on display out in the hallway, because that's what these people like to do. I'll make an example of you if you don't go along. As parents, if your kid's starting kindergarten, I got to tell you something. You're in for a fight if you want your child to walk out of the other end of this educational system with a reasonable amount of education to where they can function in society. And you'll probably also find out that, if your child wants to go study philosophy, you tell them, well, after you've got yourself either through a trade program or into a job, you can pay to go back and study philosophy if you'd so like. If I'm footing the bill, you're going to study something that's going to get you employed because you're not living in a basement. Parents need to start standing up to this. Like I said, haven't been teaching civics. Now they're teaching us 1619 nonsense, which is just that. It's been debunked by everybody that's looked at it. Every historian that's looked at it said no, no. And trying to make it like a bad thing, that our founding fathers did not want a democracy. Well, there was a reason for it, and it was a good reason, because we're a diverse country. And out of that diversity comes our strength. Understand that this is going to become a fight. We have stood by and let the left push the cultural war. It's time we push back. It's time now. You want a good way to, and this critical race stuff. Thank heaven Donald Trump has pulled it out of the federal government, where they're not going to be having any more seminars telling the employees how racist they are, their white privilege, and all this. But now we need to push that back into the colleges and keep pushing it right on down. If these colleges don't want to back away from this stuff, quit sending your kids there. Forbid it. Get them into a decent college that's going to teach them to have a rounded education. Your local school board meetings. You need to end state school board meetings. You need to get involved with these things. Simple little things like civics were the backbone of an educational system that produced Americans. They understood what their country's history was. They understood what their country was about and why it was done that way, making us one of the greatest countries on this planet. You're going to have to push that back. If you don't, then what you see coming out of these colleges isn't going to get better. It's going to get worse. You're going to send a halfway decent educated child into an educational program, and they're going to come out the other end jackbooted little brown shirts. It's what we've already got. America, we need to get busy here. Like I said in the one video, you got these Antifa members that got caught setting wildfires. Not necessarily that all of them were set by these clowns, but it sure makes it get a little suspect. The damage that's been done has been astounding in these fires. And if they were deliberately set, somebody needs to pay a heck of a price for that. I would say that if they can prove that this Antifa and Black Lives Matter did that, government needs to go in, get them declared a terrorist organization, start rounding them up, and take them over to Gitmo to get them reprogrammed, but take them out of the country. Take them to Gitmo, let them know where terrorists go. Okay? And while you got them there, start teaching them how wrong they have been taught. This needs to end. People are dying out there, folks. I understand that other than the one fellow that got shot, just gunned down in cold blood in Portland, you had another guy that some guy hit him with a vehicle. Yeah, one of the Proud Boys, Antifa member, Black Lives Matter member, one of the two, just getting hard to tell them apart, ran into him. And yes, some of you are going to say, well, Black Lives Matter is black. I said, the only thing I got to say about that, have you looked at their protests? All of them screaming Black Lives Matter, and you have a crowd of 50 people there, and if there's 6 blacks involved, it's heavily black. Most of it's white people. Yes, all lives matter, including blacks. But black thugs who resist arrest and swallow a bunch of drugs or stand in their hallway shooting at police or pulling a knife on police or all these assorted things. I'm sorry, they had their life in their own hands and they chose to throw it away. Would I say let an officer sit there and get hurt and not go home to his family because of their stupidity? No. No. Those guys wearing those badges and guns are not there to be daycare. They want to safely put you in custody and get you in a jail cell and then let the courts deal with you. But they're not there to risk their lives to do that. And if you start coming at them, know that there's going to be consequences. Let's wake up, America. Like I keep saying to the Black Lives Matter, you want these, 9 cases this year, maybe 10, of blacks being killed by police? Why don't you quit resisting arrest? It'd be really nice if you quit breaking the law, but that's not going to happen. Not for a ways now. Quit resisting. Quit trying to swallow drugs. Quit standing and shooting through a door with your girlfriend standing behind you. These are the things that are getting your people killed. Okay? There's a couple, that little kid, I think it was Toledo, had a squirt gun or toy gun. That was a wrongful death, and those officers should paid for that. There was one a few years back where somebody tossed a flashbang and it wound up in a playpen with a baby. Well, yeah, somebody need to pay for that. Okay? But for the most part, most of these other ones are nothing more than thugs that got violent with police, and police got violent back, and they lost. I don't feel sorry for them. They didn't die because of racism or prejudice. They died from stupidity. They were up protesting in Detroit with that one boy that all the videos showed the same thing. He wasn't even being arrested. He was told to move along. His buddy was being arrested for a triple homicide. And this kid took a few steps back, reached in his pocket, pulled a gun, and started shooting at these cops. He was gunned down. Okay? And then you idiots up there in Detroit, and Black Lives Matter and Antifa went up there to protest and to riot and loot and burn. And when you do stuff like that, your cause is lost any validity. You know, it's nothing but theft. Nothing but violence. I have a challenge for you, Black Lives Matter and Grandmaster Jay. Why don't you guys get together and go into Chicago and clean that up there. Yeah, help the police round up the gangs. There you go. Yeah, bring that to an end. We're gonna quit killing children in that town. Then move on to the next one. And start trying to clean up your own neighborhoods. The number one cause of death to your people is another black with a weapon. Stop it. A lot of talented people are disappearing off this planet because of stupidity and what you guys think is cool, being a gangbanger or a drug dealer. And then you want to blame the police departments. Whew. Not smart. Anyway, this is Rich, Jesse Homestead. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a great week. And we will talk to you real soon.